Hello everyone, it's Coded Steel and welcome to what I believe is your 9th tutorial in the C programming language. Today we're going to cover the control statement, the while loop, and then my hopes are that next time we can jump into code that's a little more interesting, because up to this point we've just been covering the basics that you need to know how to C program, and then after this we're going to move into some real cool programs. I don't know if you guys have been seeing some of my past codes. I've actually had this user functions thing up. That's something we're going to discuss in a later tutorial. That's a file that I've actually been working on creating some functions that, and I'm going to put it up on the internet so you guys can download it and follow along with me in my tutorials. But anyways, that's for a different day. Let's get on to the while loop. So what we're going to do today is we're going to build a register. So to do that, I'm going to need to declare some variables first. So I'm going to declare some variables, and we're going to call that one result, and we're going to also need a character to choose with, and then we need to create what is called the while loop. So you just type while, and then for the parameters within the while loop, you enter what the conditions are that you want this while loop to activate as. So a while loop works different than the way an if loop works or a for loop works or whatever. A for loop will cycle through similarly until a condition ends. Usually it's used for counting and whatever else. A while loop will continue to execute as long as the conditions within these parameters are set and they're true. So if I put a 1 in here, like I was explaining to you guys before, it should make sense that if I put a 1 in here, this loop would never end because I'm saying it's always true. If I put a 0 in here, similarly, it would never execute. So just remember that, guys. So I'm going to put a 1 in there because I want this to be a forever loop, and then I'm going to enter a prompt to the user, and what are we going to put inside of this prompt? We're going to say, what would you like to do? And we're going to ask the question, and we're going to go A for add or S subtract. So we're going to ask people whether they want to add or subtract. So this is going to obviously be input into a register, and obviously if we're going to ask them what type of operation they want to perform and they got to enter A or S, well, we need to tell them what to enter. So I'm going to put in here a %s. %s I don't think is something I covered before, but basically what a %s is it's going to help me format better. For some reason, guys, when I enter a C in here, it likes to sometimes misfeed. So if I put a %s in here, it runs more fluidly. The code executes more fluidly. So it's just saying I want to format this as a string, which is something we haven't even learned about and actually doesn't really exist in C. That's more of a C++, but we'll cover that later because I'll probably do some C++ tutorials. Anyway, back to what's important. That's how we're going to do this scanf. That's how it's going to be formatted. So we're going to get user input that way, and then we're going to do if, else if, and an else structure. And obviously else, guys, really doesn't need to take any parameters. We're going to have it take parameters, but we're going to put inside of this, we're going to do choose is equal to, and remember a character is defined by the hash marks A. So if choose is equal to A, then we want to execute this block of code. And similarly, if choose is equal to S, that's when we want to execute that block of code. So inside here, we're going to put some prompts to the user. Print. So we're going to do a printf statement, and we're going to ask the user, what numbers would you like to add? So we're going to ask them that question. What numbers would you like to add? And then they're going to do. We're going to do a scanf here, and we're going to allow the user to enter the numbers that they would like to add. So we're going to do %d, %d. Guys, you can put multiple variables within the scanf thing, and it can do multiple variables at one time. This is just a way of saving time. That way you don't got to do scanf twice. So we're going to do a num1, then we're going to similarly do a num2. And then we're going to compute the result, which you guys know, result is just equal to the num1 plus the num2. And then we're going to just display our results. So we're going to go print f, and then we're going to display our result in a decimal type format, and we're going to say result. And I think that's pretty much all we want to do for this, and I'm going to insert a new line here for cleanliness. So now that I have this, I can pretty much essentially copy this whole thing and paste it down here to save us time, and then just change this to subtract, and then change this to a subtract, and that's, boom, that's all cleaned up, guys. That's all we had to do for our subtraction. And then the other thing we're going to do is we're going to copy this, and our else loop, we're going to just say wrong letter entered. So basically we want the code to execute if A and S are entered, but A gets entered, execute this. S gets entered, execute this. Any other letter or any other character gets entered, say wrong letter entered. And then we're going to continue with the code. So basically, now let's run this, guys, and see how this works. As I said to you, this code now will run forever. I can enter in, we're going to do subtraction first, and I'm just going to enter in 67 and 67. And as you can see, guys, that returns us our 0 right there as expected. Because 67 minus 67 is 0. I don't know if you can see that 0 by the W. It's kind of hard to see. Let me fix that real quick. We'll just add a new line right there. And then a new line right there, and then we'll re-execute this, and then we'll say S, we'll do 56 and 89, and the result is minus 33. So as you can see, look what it did. It asked me the same question as it did at first, the first time up here. What would you like to do? This time we're going to add, and we're going to add 45 and 45, and that gives me 90. So, as I was saying before, the key thing with a while loop, and what makes a while loop so useful, is you can enter anything within these parameters, any condition within these parameters. I don't just have to put a 1 in here. I could put another condition, like if the result is greater than 90 or something like that, then execute this. But as soon as that fails, then it would exit the code. So I mean, there's a lot of handy things that you can do with a while loop. And as I was telling you guys before, this is the last major thing that we needed to do before I could actually get into more interesting codes with you guys. So if this makes sense to you so far up to this point, everything that we've done, then congratulations, we're heading in the right direction, and our next code is actually going to be pretty interesting. So anyways, that's all I really have for this tutorial. Pretty simple, not too difficult to understand how this code works. Next time, I don't know exactly what we're going to be doing yet, but we're going to be hopefully building a pretty cool little program that actually like puts to use some of the C programming that we've learned so far, instead of doing some pointless nonsense like we've been doing for most of our programs. And whenever I get it finished, I'm going to be posting those user functions and teaching you guys how to use that stuff in upcoming tutorials. So we've got a long way to go, guys, but we're getting there. Anyway, that's all I have for this tutorial. I will see you guys next time. Thanks for watching.